You have to sit and ask yourself what is truly going to get you up in the morning, what's going to keep you up at night. When you find what that answer is, you stay true to that. I think that if we focus on one thing and do that one thing exceptionally well, we won't fail at that one thing. So sometimes you got to put the other stuff to bed and focus on what you believe is the core, and that always starts from what you love to do the most. The best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. So it's always that competitive nature, the work ethic, and curiosity. Because I asked a lot of questions.
It was just extremely curious. Extremely curious.
I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could.
I went to Goat Mountain. I would talk to them. What did you do? What were your experiences? So I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game and how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessive.
I come to understand if I could work that hard every day with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful.
There are things in story, inherently in story, that can help me be a better basketball player, be a better teammate, a better leader, understand emotions better. So that's why I got into storytelling, actually. So it's just insanely curious, man. And I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. I made that deal with myself at 13 years old. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things. And I'd say, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's find out. And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path, I think. Competitive with things that I participate in. Basketball for me was the most important thing. Everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft because you know what you're looking for. At 13 years old, I had a kill list. My mission in high school is to check off every other person, all those 56 other names, hunt them down and knock them down. But when we played at 13, I would size you up and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. How do you approach the game? Are you silly about it? Are you goofy about it? Are you good at it just because you're bigger and stronger than everybody else? Right? Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it? Right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I played to my weaknesses. Because when you're playing summer basketball, there's so many games. So there's not a lot of skill work being done. So when are you going to get better? Right? When you're playing in competition situations, you're only playing to your strengths. Why? Because you want to win. Right? So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game. Right? So I have a strategy. And so then fast forward to when I'm 17 and my game is completely well-rounded and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17, now you got a problem. A lot of guys played for financial stability. And when they came to the NBA, they got that financial stability. So therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone. And then you had the players that had that passion, but weren't willing to commit their entire lives to doing that, right? It's a choice, right? Like you're worried about how people may perceive you and like you're walking around and it's embarrassing. Get over yourself. Every day, since 20 years, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. I studied the game and it just never changed. Pretty simple for me. It's do you understand the business? Is it a business that you can help in some form or fashion? What are the barriers of entry to that business? And then the entrepreneurs themselves, the company itself, right? Do they have a culture that you believe is sustainable? Are these leaders people that you believe in? Are they people that are obsessives? And in turn, have they created a culture of obsessiveness? So I tend to look at those 4 factors, and that's it. There's a lot of days where you can rest and recover. Today ain't one of them. People don't understand that. And worse than that, they're intimidated by that. And even worse, they try to discredit that because they do not have the level of passion and obsessiveness to get to that level. So they figure the best thing to do is to tear that level down. We were never rattled, ever. Because we're always in the moment, always in the present, always extremely calm, always looking at the reality of the situation and not letting our emotions cloud our execution. And that comes from being in that meditative state. Find your truth and then go after it. When the game is more important than the injury itself, you don't feel that damning. You gotta set the example. This is another obstacle. This obstacle cannot define me. It's not gonna cripple me. It's not gonna be responsible for me stepping away for the game that I love. I'm gonna step away on my own terms. And that's when the decision was made that you gotta lead by example. If we have a project and you're saying, okay, I can do that, that's not the project we want. The projects that say, I don't know if I can animate that. I don't know how to write that story. I don't know how to do that. Those are the things we want, because through that curiosity, you'll reach a level that you didn't think was possible. That's what I'm there for, is for them to constantly look in the mirror and self-assess and challenge themselves. You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us strong. We were never satisfied, never finished. We'll never be retired. I believe there's time for resting at the end, but for me, that time is not now. To have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never ever rest in the middle.
I just dream. The more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless. And when you're just there in the moment, playing plays right in front of you, your focus is heightened because nothing else matters. You have to get them to an emotional space where they wake up every morning driven to be the best version of themselves. Yeah. If you're doing something that's so easy, man, you might want to reconsider what you're doing. Inspire one, who inspires the next, who inspires the next, and on you go. I'm driving this way, and either you're going to be on the train or be on the track.